In Times New Roman is Queens of the Stone Age's most interesting, inspired, and consistent record to date. And look, I know that last point is as impressive as it is contentious. What you can't argue with though is that Josh clearly had a muse this time around. He had something clear to say, both lyrically and musically, and he said it concisely. Even though the album deals in themes like societal excess and moral decay, it's probably not a stretch to say that it's more insular. It's looking inward more than outward. Might as well face your demons and get absolution, because the world's going to end in probably in a month or so. It's about Josh, really. By his own admission, he's getting the monkey off his back. For him, it's a kind of therapy. For us, it's a satisfying collection of honest, open-faced musings on life and pain with which we can easily relate. The album is dark in its tone, but it doesn't wallow. There's an unmistakable sense of resolution and optimism here. Speaking musically, the album is brimming with interesting ideas and flourishes, the kind of flourishes that give you the Patrick Bateman stink face. It has a single identity running throughout, a dingy, crunchy brand of blues mixed with warm melodic hooks over here and regular explorations into hazy desert rock over there. It's powerful, it's bombastic, and its progressive construction makes it a really good driving record. It's an awesome companion to Songs for the Deaf in this way. And, like Songs for the Deaf, I believe In Times New Roman is very deliberately assembled and paced from the opening song to the finish. There are no filler tracks here, no odd ones out. The album bears all of Josh Homme's best songwriting tendencies too. The songs have melodies that evoke a range of emotions: bitterness, anger, relief, despair, triumph. The melodies move from one key and one feeling to another within the same song. The riffs too are multi-layered. They begin simply, like the beginning of Made to Parade, but then evolve with the use of tricks like extra measures or counter melodies. It makes the record feel alive and complex and yet accessible at the same time. Josh has even exercised his penchant for hilariously stupid puns like voyeurism jism and what the peephole say. These are classic. You're not meant to think too deeply about the lines themselves because they're simply an irrepressible part of Josh's personality. If you hear him talk in interviews and he says the same sort of stuff. He's a jokester, he's determined not to take himself too seriously. It's been said that the album includes some influences from 70s era rock. You can kinda hear that, the chorus of Emotion Sickness or the Roadhouse Blues breakdown section in Straight Jacket Fitting are really good examples. But if that's true, the inspiration is sparing, it's minimal at best. It masterfully avoids any accusation of being derivative, and that's not easy to do. You can sort of hear the ghosts of seminal rock in the mix of dirty, angry, disturbing songs Homme offers, but they're just that, barely there. What you get instead is an album full of complex melodic lines and cathartic releases, presented using the dirty production style for which Homme is well known and well loved. The best song on the record, Made to Parade, does this wonderfully. The second section, post 3 minutes, is an incredible release. The song is constantly building up tension, changing, breaking down, as though it's desperately trying to avoid that release that ends up coming. But the triumph of the song breaks out, almost like Homme is having a therapeutic breakthrough. It's real butterfly from a cocoon type stuff. John Theodore locks into this single galloping groove which is accentuated by his use of the splash cymbal. He keeps the fills and rhythmic aberrations to a minimum. The guitars make a wall of flangy fuzz, and there's a soaring solo too, noodling between classic blues licks and joyous bends. Homme sings like a man unburdened too. He lets out a couple of woos as the band jams. You can just feel him enjoying himself, like he knows he's tapped into something. We love it because he so clearly does. The payoff of the song is brilliant precisely because it's so hard gotten. I'm a sucker for indulgent, sugary songs like this, but especially when they feel like they've been earned. What's really interesting is that this song also uses an old-fashioned fade-out. If Homme had chosen to end it like he does other songs, like abruptly or with some ensemble of strange synths, it would have undermined the genuine warmth the song is trying to convey. Homme loves a good poppy hook, don't we all, but I can't recall a recent example of a Queen song doing this so bloody well. And I'm not the only one to think this, clearly. Go. My second favourite song on the album is Time and Place. Shout out to BrandonMan94 for kicking off this particular thread because he was right to point out that the song is doing something technically intriguing. At the highest level, Time and Place is a tried and true driving song. It layers guitar and synth parts in a way that sounds chaotic but is never messy. The song has people talking, however, thanks to its use of a polymetric rhythm structure. Essentially, the song is split between two time signatures that play at the same time. The dominant time signature is 4/4. Most of the ensemble, the drums and the bass and the rhythm guitars, conform to the straight 4/4 beat. However, as you'll all have noticed, the song begins with the guitar plucking out a chord in 3/4. Whereas the 4/4 main line is based on 4 measures, the lone guitar is syncopated over just 3. The result is odd and unsettling. The 3/4 part cycles in and out of sync with the start of a new 4-bar section in the 4/4 rhythm, subtly complicating but never really derailing the song. Queens has done stuff like this before, but this particular assembly sounds more like something Radiohead would do, a winking-eyed subversion of an established formula. And while the song is built around it, it doesn't overpower the other musical elements. It's not a gimmick. As much as it feels wonderfully wrong, it also feels wonderfully right. I imagine it's not easy to successfully strike that kind of balance. I've not got any confirmation for this, but I suspect that the album was recorded live, which is to say, the entire band played the songs together in studio, instead of laying down the tracks independently. You don't really notice it, but you do feel it. Playing with your band live gives you better control over rhythm and dynamics. It's less perfect, at least in comparison to playing along with a click track, but it gives the songs a living, breathing quality you can't get any other way. This feels like a little bit of a departure for Queens. I'm sure I'm wrong about this, but I know that at the very least, Like Clockwork was recorded to a click track. If you listen to I Appear Missing through headphones, you can just barely hear the metronome in the background at the beginning of the song, which is a cool kind of Easter egg. I've got evidence to support my theory too. To reference my earlier points about the second half of Made to Parade, when Josh Homme woos, that sounds like an unprompted, authentic, spur-of-the-moment reaction. You don't feel the vibe, then go back and record a woo to accentuate it. You do it when you feel it, and they managed to capture it, and they left it in because it was honest. Now, I haven't forgotten about the drunken stumble either. Homme is still at it. I can count at least 2 examples of stumbling modulations across the album. Maybe you can pick out some more. Arguably, the whole album is a drunken stumble. There's a line from Songs for the Deaf which I think perfectly summarises this record. Metal heavy, soft at the core. It's a quintessential Queens album, and that's in no small part because of its honesty. It's further proof, if we needed any, that art comes from pain and reconciliation and healing. And I hope it can happen again. Maybe it'll take the world ending.